Be careful not to overlook the emotional aspect of retirement planning. I think a lot of people in retirement planning, when they're planning for this and they're crunching numbers, a lot of people probably watch this channel are more right side minded, the engineer type spreadsheets and whatnot, and they want a definitive answer. The math, the spreadsheets will tell us a solution. I've always challenged that. You'll never get an answer for the unknown. We don't know. All right, we don't know. It's not like gravity. We cannot, we cannot prove that this will happen because of that. It's just there's no ability to do that because we have no idea what the future holds. But we can quantify a spreadsheet until we're blue in the face. But the problem is, at the end of the day, there is still an emotional construct. So let me read this. What my friend, my man here, we'll call him Jay. He said, "Hey Josh, you worked with me and my wife a little bit ago. I just want to thank you again for your analysis and reassurance about our situation. I retire tomorrow from my job at 35 years. I hired into my company right after I finished school, and that has been the entirety of my adult experience. I'm not sure if that's after you finished college or high school. I just can't remember. But I hired into my company 31 years ago, 1 month after I finished school, and that has been the entirety of his adult experience. I'm experiencing every emotion you can imagine, but I wanted to tell you that the one emotion I am not experiencing is worry over my money. You're a quality individual and I wish you all the best, but he's experiencing every emotion imaginable." And thanks, Jay, for the kind words. And I wrote him back and said, "Man, this brings it home to me. Really, really appreciate the email. I think all the number crunching, we can get caught in forgetting that the emotional roller coaster that comes with retirement and retirement planning, particularly. Let me just share with you I'll never one of the most emotional times, and it was I didn't know how to deal with it. When I got out of the army, I was 22 years old. I served essentially it wasn't quite a 4-year term, but tour, but roughly 4 years. So I go in the military. I had just turned 18. And I had, that was literally I had no adult experience other than the military, maybe like a 2 months from turn 18 until when I went in the military. And you get out 22. Was that 22? No, it's still 21. Yeah, 21. It's February 27th, 1992. All right. So I'm still 21. I just literally only been 6 months since I could drink legally. And I'll never forget signing, going through the week before of getting out. You're just like stoked. You're like, man, I can't believe it. In hindsight, you're like, why? This is only like 3.5 years, dude. What, I'm 50 years old now. It was a very small segment of my overall life, but not back then. Back then, it was the only thing I knew. It was my only experience as an individual without being homebound, if that makes sense. But on top of that, I'll never forget signing my ETS papers. When you get, I remember it like it was just like 2 minutes ago. Signing my ETS papers with my the master sergeant, I can't remember, the E8 of the company or maybe the battalion, I forgot. But anyway, I remember going into his office. It wasn't his office. It's like the office, almost like a front desk, if you will, of when you go to a school and you got a couple ladies there that you sign out your kid. And going there and saying, "Hey, whatever, Master Sergeant Smith, I'm processing out today." And for him, it was just no big deal. He's all right, just another guy. For me, man, it was, and it's to this day, it's still, I'll never forget that. And I remember he processed me the thing for whatever the document was. I don't know what it is. You're basically signing that you've delivered all your TA-50 gear. I just can't remember what it was. But you're signing, and then he goes, and I think he gave me money because I had some leave saved up. I don't remember that, but I just remember signing the freaking form on the desk. And I had a friend of mine, I can't remember who it was, but a friend of mine took a picture of me doing it. I said, "Man, take a picture of me doing this." And man, I tell you, it still brings emotions to me right now because I had no idea what was coming. And yet you're sitting there thinking, I hope, and I remember I had a diary, believe it or not. I don't do it anymore. I haven't done it in a long, long time, and I didn't do it that much. But I had a diary back then. I'll never forget saying, "I hope you don't look back on this and wish you stayed in." That is my biggest fear of going out to the great unknown, saying, "Man, please, good Lord, don't make me wish that I stayed in the military." You know what I'm saying? And I didn't. I never did, actually, thankfully. But I remember so getting out and my man, whoever was it Jamie? I forgot, but my man took the picture, shook my hand, gave me a little hug, and that was it. And I'm driving in my I bought a vehicle, 1992 Mitsubishi Precis or Precise or something like that, with New York tags, and I'll never forget leaving post. And when you're leaving post, you don't have to go through any security; just go. It's crazy. And going through there, it was like it was the most emotional thing I've ever had. One of the most emotional things I've ever had to do with, because you're like, what next? Because you literally have some money in your pocket, and you can do whatever the hell you want to do. And up until that point in my entire life, I had to do what I was told to do, from my parents to school, obviously, until the army. And this was literally the first time in my life I could do whatever the hell I wanted to do. I was responsible to no one but myself. And I'm getting, just thinking about right now, it's still tingly, because you're like, dude, it's, I can do whatever I want to do, which means that's a world of opportunity, but it's also a world of doubt and a world of risk, and you don't know. And I remember, as like, emotionally, I was so happy, and I was so, I don't want to say scared, but just like, whoa. And I remember driving down 81, just like teary eyed. Like, I can't believe I made it, first of all, but I can't believe that it's over. And like my man Jay here, 31 years, he'd never done anything else. All the spreadsheets in the world don't mean crap. I mean, I don't want to say it doesn't mean anything. It does, but in the overall scheme of things, the emotional construct of what he's going through. I was just, basically 3.5 years, a young man, no kids, no wife, no grandkids, no nothing, just my car loan of $200 a month, and that's it. He's been 31 years. He's got a wife. I can't remember I just don't remember what his circumstances were, but he's going to wake up today, because he just retired yesterday, and he's going to have nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, what next? You got to think about that, man. I'm telling you, I've been in this business a long time. I will tell you right now, my friends, there are a lot of men in particular, who they hit. I can't remember how old he is, and I'm not gonna look him up, but I forgot. But anyway, 60 years old, they get that nut. We'll just say 7 figures. They've been striving, a crappy old job. Now they get 7 figures. Like, I'm done. I got FU money. I am out. And then I'm like, well, what are you? Okay, so you're leaving something. What are you going to? I'm gonna play golf. I get a blank sheet of paper. I'll say, okay, so let's divide these up to 7 days, three columns. So we got 7 rows. Yeah, 7 rows. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 3 columns. Morning, afternoon, evening. What are you going to do to fulfill those times? How many times you can play golf? This, that, and the other. 3 times a week? Okay. Let's just say it takes an afternoon 3 times a week. What are you going to do in the morning? What are you going to do in the evening? And I don't know that there's no answer to that. I'm just saying it's a big flipping deal. What do you do? What do you do? And what I found a couple of times is that a lot of men, no, some men, they'll get bored fast because they didn't prepare for this. They were just so stoked to leave work, they weren't prepared. I'm telling you, um, so I get back to Alexandria, where my dad lived, and it was. I remember I got a tattoo like a week later. I was bored, dude. I was bored. I was like, what? I was bored. So I got a tattoo like a week later, because I didn't know what I was gonna do. My man Tony Mendez came down for a couple days from New York, from Fort Drum. We drank like freaking crazy, man. But it was weird. I'll never forget. We're sitting on the porch, my front porch in Alexandria, at my dad's house, and just drinking, just talking about, talking shop about the army and stuff. And I'll never forget. I was like, oh man, the people, like, life went on for those guys, and I just wasn't part of it. It was weird, man. I sat there on the front porch, and he's like, yeah, hey, this guy's doing this guy doing that, and I was like, thinking, oh, I'm still part of that. No, I wasn't. I mean, I was part of their life until I wasn't, if that made sense. And that hit me hard. Like, yeah, no, I got it. And then you're no longer part of it. Like, people don't care, and you can't blame them. Like, people come and go, and the same thing for you. But I remember, but I'm not just people. I'm me. How come? It was weird, man. I'll never forget that. And then he went back. I went to go see my friend down in Kentucky. Where did I go to see Kevin in Florida? I think I wanted to go down to Gainesville, Florida to see my man Kevin for a week or so. My roommate got married in May. I went up to Rochester for a couple of days, but I was just bored. I was like, and so what happens when you get bored? If you start drinking, and I mean, so anyway, long story short, I said I got to do something myself, and so I took a job at loading trucks at UPS in the evening. And I remember I'd be drinking the day, you know what I'm saying? And I'd never go up to work lit, but I mean, I'm just like, you're bored, dude. It's like, all right, now I'll never forget that. 11 in the morning roll around. Yeah. It's like, okay, now what? And my shift, I think, started like 5:30 or something like that. And you have to it'd take an hour to get up there. So much traffic in the off the Beltway in DC. The Springfield UPS the UPS store was in Springfield, and I was in Alexandria, and I still think I had to take 4 nights to Beltway. I can't remember, but I remember it took like a half hour, 45 minutes to get to work. I can't remember, but I remember. So basically, I stopped drinking like around 2 or maybe 3 or something like that. And I wasn't drunk, I wasn't lit, but I'm just like, there's nothing else. It was the weird. I tell you, man. And I know men who do that when they're retired, but they're not going to work. They've left work, so they can start drinking at 10, 11, or 11 or 12, I should say. And, there's nothing that they have to sober up for. And then by the time, dinner comes around, they're kind of 2 S's in the bag or 2 S's to the wind. And, their wife is like, all right, now I'm telling you. And then they get kind of cranky. They'll turn on Fox News, MSNBC. I'm looking at, like, you can see my TV over there, and they're like, then they get bitter, and it's not healthy. Anyway, so I'll never forget. So I was sitting there working at UPS, and I said, okay. And then I get home. I think the shift stopped at 11. And I'd fly home down to what was that road? It was over by Landmark Mall in Alexandria. I forgot what that road was called. Duke Street. Yeah, it was Duke Street. I fly down Duke Street, hit the Giant Foods. I get a 6-pack. This is before I knew good beers. I get a 6-pack of, I think, Coors, a pint of a Ben and Jerry's, and then I'd go to McDonald's and get a Big Mac, fries, and a milkshake. No idea how bad that was for you. But anyway, and I'd drink, watch NHL. I remember coming home watching hockey. It was the playoffs, and I'd go to bed around 3 in the morning. Drunk as a skunk. Wake up at 10, 11, and do the same thing next day. It's not good, man. And then anyway, I remember one time I had a lady friend come over, and well, I don't want to say much more than that. But let's just put it this way: my dad said, it seems like my dad was sober, and he said, it seems like you might be struggle a bit. You know what I'm saying? Why don't you go to an AA meeting with me? And I went, and it was good. It was good. And I wasn't emotionally there yet to go that route, if that makes sense. Anyway, long story short, so I enrolled in college, and that helped because I needed something to do. And that changed. And I want to say it changed. It didn't change everything, but it changed. It put me back on solid ground. But I'm just telling you, man, the idea of just, I'm going to quit my job, and there's got to be something. There's got to be something, because it's emotional. Yes, your spreadsheets work, but emotionally, how are you going to deal with the opportunity that really can ruin you and ruin your relationships? I've seen it. My husband changed since he's retired. He's just kind of cranky. Now he's kind of an ass. I've seen it. Sad. You got to deal with the emotional aspect of retirement planning. Long story short, for me, it all worked out, right? I found my better half, Charlotte. I was able to retain her services as my wife. I don't know, man. That was before I married, but I threw her through the grinder. No other way around that. But she stuck. She stuck with this clown. I hurt a lot of people on the way, but that's a young man, and you don't want to be an old man who's going to hurt a lot of people on the way, because the old men that you're going to hurt, and the people you're going to hurt, are family, man. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not really meeting friends and stuff, and you don't want to be that guy that hurts people emotionally. you just got to plan for the emotions. How are you going to deal with it? It's not a joke, man. My man Jay here saying, I can't tell you all the emotions I'm going through. And you don't want to wake up at 83 with no wife. Your kids are like, whatever, pops. Yeah, you don't want that to happen. And that, I mean, frankly, that didn't almost happen to me because I didn't know Charlotte yet, but that could have, you know what I'm saying? It could have. And thankfully, cooler heads prevailed. And for me, it's quitting drinking. I mean, no other way around that. Just, March 25th, 1997. Um, but, from the 19th, when I got out of the military, February 27th, 1992 to March 25th, 1997, 5 years and 2 months, there's a lot of drinking in that time. A lot of people I let down, a lot of hurt people, a lot of stupidity. And, but I was able to save myself. Obviously, I find my faith in the good Lord upstairs, Jesus Christ. But the first part of that was recognizing I was an emotional wreck, man, and I was turning to alcohol to relieve me of those emotions, and it did. But it didn't solve the dilemma of my emotional state, and as such, I was a SM, which still am, but at least I'm sober. Anyway, so man, I didn't realize this was going to go this long. It's funny when you're talking to YouTube or your camera here, you're it's like a self-running diary of just freaking verbal vomit. But anyway, kudos to you, brother. That's fantastic. I hope you got something to go to. And I don't know what that something is, but man, leaving something without something to go to can be a freaking hard task. Have something to go to, not just away from something. All right, love to hear your comments. We'll see you.